Hi, it's Stacy with Families of Grace, and I just wanted to talk today a little bit more about what it means to be a family of grace. And I want to make sure that I clarify that I mean a family filled with grace, not a graceful family. And let me tell you the difference. First of all, when I think of graceful, I think of things like ballerinas and people who are incredibly graceful and don't hurt themselves easily. I am not one of those people. I hurt myself all the time in the craziest ways. I've cut my arm just laying on the couch thanks to the zipper. I have fallen out my front door and sprained my ankle. I can't even begin to count all of the different ways and times that I've gotten hurt throughout my entire life, continuing even as an adult. So graceful is something that I am not a bit. And I would say of my children, my daughter has probably inherited that a little bit as well. My husband always teases us at how we can find bruises, and we're like, oh, I wonder where that came from. I bet that hurt when I did it. But we have no recollection of how it happened because it just happens quite often. We bump into things, whatever. So graceful is not what we are. Grace-filled, however, is something that we are trying to be. Grace-filled means that instead of responding immediately out of anger when something irritates you or makes you upset, that you stop and you take a moment and you think about it and you process it. And this helps, I think, a little bit because I'm an introvert. I tend to do those things anyway, but it also just gives me time to regroup and think, why am I angry? Am I angry because there's actually an injustice happening? Sometimes yes. Am I angry because I should be? Sometimes yes. Am I angry because I'm just frustrated and having a bad day? Also, sometimes yes. And all of those have different reactions for me. There are times that my children do things that they're not supposed to do, that they know that they're not supposed to do, and they get in trouble, and I get angry, and it just happens. But I also work very hard to keep my discipline from being just that, being discipline, and not being anger, and not being revenge for them interrupting my day or making my day bad or doing something that they know they're not supposed to be doing. That's what part of being grace-filled is about. It's about just stopping for a minute and being like, wait a minute, how should I react to this situation? Why is this person doing something to make me angry? Why are they acting this way? And many times I have found that the answer is because they're hurting, because they're tired, because they're sick, because they're incredibly stressed out, because there's a big problem and it has nothing to do with me, and it really doesn't have much to do with them sometimes. It's just the way that they're behaving. So sometimes when my children act out or do things, instead of yelling at them, my response is, stop. We don't talk that way. We don't do whatever this is. What's going on? Talk to me about it. And I've learned that a lot from my husband as well. He is a very good guy at being very level-headed and being very calm and being very laid back. He is very understanding. He's not quick to anger. Neither my husband nor I are. And so that really does work in our family because we haven't had to struggle with that an incredible amount. But there have definitely been times that we have had to do that, especially when we are more stressed, when there's something going on. Those are the hardest times to be filled with grace because it's really hard to feel like stopping and giving someone grace and compassion when you're dealing with something incredibly difficult at the same time, or you're not feeling well, or something is really hurting you. Those are hard times to be grace-filled. And for those times is when I rely even more on God. I rely on God all of the time to be a grace-filled person. I am not always grace-filled. I'm working on it. I'm trying to be that person. But I cannot do it on my own because it goes against my human nature. My human nature is to focus on me and how something affects me and how it hurts me and how I want to lash out and how I want to yell or scream or, okay, I don't really want to yell or scream most of the time, but maybe how I want to say mean things or ugly things or hurtful things to get revenge on a person rather than stopping and composing myself and figuring out maybe they need some grace. Maybe they need a calm response from me. Maybe what they need most is a hug in the middle of me being angry with them. My human nature does not lend itself to that. My human nature lends itself to being very self-centered. And so I cannot do that without help. And so I pray for that. I pray every morning that I will be the kind of wife and mom that my husband and children need me to be. I pray that I will be the person God created me to be. And I work throughout my day to remind myself of God. There are times that I will sometimes say a quick prayer as I'm doing things. And my other big thing that I really utilize and encourage you to try is Christian music. That really, really helps me a whole lot. I have found that to come in handy as a parent, as a wife, and just as a person. It reconnects me with God in the middle of my busyness, in the middle of my day, no matter if I'm making dinner or if I'm driving in the car to pick up or drop off for the kids, if I'm doing my work, if I'm cleaning my house, all of those things. And listening to Christian music helps me to focus on God. And when I'm focusing on God, I'm less inclined and less likely to react the way that I shouldn't. I'm more inclined to be filled with grace and love, and to respond correctly when something happens that, is pretty darn inconvenient for me and makes me want to be really irritated and frustrated. And so that's what I wanted to just explain to you a little bit today. We are not talking about graceful. I am not a ballerina, which is what I associate, I guess, most with graceful. I am not that at all. I am good at being awkward. I'm good at tripping over my own 2 feet. I'm good at all those things. I'm good at getting hurt in really weird ways, and maybe even not weird ways, but just getting hurt in general. Like, I'm really good at being a klutz. Basically, I'm good at dropping things. I am not good at being graceful. I am, however, working very much to be grace-filled so that the world sees more grace in me, more of God in me than me in me. And that's what I just wanted to share with you today, and have a wonderful and grace-filled day. Thanks.